Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Looking for Love in All the Wrong Dust Jackets, a show where three disgruntled harpies talk to you about everything we love in romance, whether that's books, movies, TV shows, whatever we like. My name's Liz.
I'm Danny.
I'm Wiggles.
And welcome to the episode. Today, we are discussing the relatively new movie, Plus One. Actually, I don't think it's new at all.
It came out in 2019.
Okay, so...
New-ish.
Anyway, before we talk about that, I got to warn you. I got to let you know that we are crass and unhinged, and we are very unladylike. So if you don't like swearing, you don't like talking about the bedroom activities, both in and out of the bedroom, you've been warned, and I can't do anything more for you.
Yeah. This is not a safe place to not consume that. So
Listen, we're in our 30s and we're not going to change at this point. So
can't teach an old broad new tricks.
Anyway, what have you guys been up to? Get me caught up. What's going on?
yeah, Wiggs, what you been up to?
Well, I powered through very quickly the next two in the Brown Sisters series. So that's by Talia Hibbert. And so that's Take a Hint, Danny Brown, and actor age Eve Brown. Both very good. I would consider them like 4.5 stars. They didn't hit quite as strongly as the first, which is Get a Life, Chloe Brown. But I think that might be slightly tinged by they only have Lady Danbury. They only have Lady Danbury voicing the first one, and the other voiceover actors are great, but it just was hitting different. It was just hitting different, you know.
Fair enough.
So, but also I just like the first story the best. The others were good. First one was the best. And then I didn't teach, and then I made my sister start Buffy. So. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Has your sister never seen Buffy?
She's literally never seen Buffy. Yeah. We're
What a time to
struggling
be
through
alive.
the first season.
Yes.
Like you do.
Like you do. But then second season, shit goes fast.
I will say the commentary is pretty entertaining. The first thing she pointed out to me, she's like, I just love that they're all wearing press-ons right now. I was like, you're not wrong, though.
Okay.
Like, all the vampires have these, like, crazy long nails in that first episode. And I was like, you're not wrong. I can't argue with you. So
That's the podcast you should have started.
Introduction to Buffy 101.
Yeah, there actually is a podcast that does that. But
Yeah. So there you go. That's what I've been doing.
Danny?
I was grumpy this weekend.
Danny, dearest, every single time we throw this to you, you're always saying things like that.
I was grumpy. I did nothing. I put YouTube on and watched Make It to Break It from VAT 19 and watched people violently try to break small objects with really ridiculous objects.
Okay.
That
okay,
was
Danny.
pretty much what I did. And played Dreamlight Valley.
Okay.
Okay. Well, you could hop on the watching Buffy for the first time train. Danny, why do you resist this?
Mainly because of ADHD and it's hard to start new things.
The press on nails aren't reeling you in.
I mean, they're not reeling me in. No. I did start watching again Call the Midwife, but apparently decided to emotionally destroy myself because I didn't remember where I left off in Call the Midwife, and I just was like, cool, this is where I left off, and started it and immediately watched Barbara die.
Yeah, that's no good.
It was, yeah. I was like, within like 3 minutes of me starting the episode. So that was rough, but
Okay.
What'd you do, Liz? Probably a lot more things than I did.
I read Alliance by Etta Pierce, which is the most recent installment in her Interstellar Union series. I think I've talked about this a few times. It's the premise is these humans get abducted from Earth and then they get rescued by the good aliens and then they have to start like a colony on one of their planets. This one was a bit of a letdown for me. I mean, it was still 3 stars, but the main characters, they didn't really seem to have anything in common other than just like the circumstances that threw them together. And also there was like a good chunk in the beginning of the book where I was like, what the fuck is happening? I've read all the books before this, but what the fuck is happening?
I do hate that when you're like, I don't understand what's happening here. I don't get it.
And it wasn't like, oh, you should have, part of it I think was we should have integrated the previous plot points better in instead of just like assuming I remember. And also sometimes I think people take leaps from, I'm writing this from the perspective of somebody who has no idea what's going on, so I get to over explain things, to I'm writing it from the perspective of like a native to this, so how do I explain it to the audience without making it seem like the character who knows exactly what these like sci-fi things are wouldn't think about them too much.
There are ways to do that too, though, that are, explaining without making it seem like you're explaining.
Yeah.
On the other hand, like if you're reading a series and you are reading them out of order, I don't know what's happening in your brain. Like I don't. How do you just go, I'm going to skip 1 through 4 and start at 5? I don't know. How do you do that?
Well, I don't know. I didn't do that. I read all the other ones.
I know. So like at a certain point, you kind of got to write to the people who are reading your books.
Yeah.
Suppose that's true.
Oh.
I also watched the new show on Amazon Prime or Prime Video, whatever you want to call it, My Lady Jane, which is based off a book by somebody that I don't know. And I should have looked it up, but I didn't.
Cool.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Great story.
But it's pretty fun. It's got a lot of A Knight's Tale vibes
Love
mixed
that.
with like The Great. That's what the TV show is. Kind of like mix them together.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was a good time. I enjoyed it.
All right.
By the way, this podcast has like fucked all of my algorithms up. It's like, you must really like romance. And I'm like, I like romance books. I don't like watching romance movies. Stop showing me this.
We usually don't watch them on the same platform a lot, though. So
It still has. It's like, Netflix is like, you want to watch this? And I'm like, no, I don't want to watch that.
you don't know.
Never
It could be
trusted
great.
Netflix's recommendations.
No.
They always send me stuff where I'm like, really? Anyway, so let's talk about this movie. So the fun facts that I can find on it aren't that fun.
No.
The hot trivia for you is that the Hawaii scenes were shot in California.
Shocking.
Wow.
Scandal.
Wow.
And in one scene, Alice has a fork in her hand, and then there's a camera shift, and she doesn't have a fork anymore.
Whoa.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so keep your pants on. It's pretty spicy, I know, but I will say this was on Miss Mojo's top 10 most underrated romantic comedies of the 2010s list. So there you go. And yeah, I don't really have a lot else other than, in case it wasn't obvious, Jack Quaid is Dennis Quaid's son, and Dennis Quaid is a hottie. So
I could do a fun fact.
yeah,
That's pretty random. Be careful when you type into Google +1 because that's also the name of a sex toy brand you can get at Target.
did not know that.
Yeah, I also did not know that.
I didn't know
there you go.
Target sold sex toys.
I've told you this 3 or 4 times by now.
Yes, you have. She's told me this once, and I know she's told you it more than that.
Listen, my brain retains the information it deems useful.
I have also seen them.
And the fact that there are sex toys at Target isn't useful?
I'm not going to buy my sex toys at a place where there's a cash register.
They all have cash registers. What the fuck are you talking about?
The internet doesn't.
Well,
Oh.
that's fair.
I've gone to the sex shop many a time.
Anyway, Danny, what is this movie about?
This movie is about weddings. Go. No, just kidding. It's about 2 friends who are Alice, who has recently broken up with Nate, and how she has just a ridiculous amount of weddings to go to this summer, and then Ben. And then Ben, who also has a ridiculous amount of weddings to go to this summer. They're good friends, And they decide that they're going to be each other's plus one to all these fucking weddings. And he's kind of trying to help her get over Nate because she is constantly talking about him. And they're trying to just get through the wedding season, which can be very exhausting from a single standpoint. And then they fuck in a graveyard. Let's discuss.
I don't think I've ever been to a wedding by myself. And I don't mean obviously I have my husband, but even before that, there's always like family, or we're doing it as a friend group because we're all friends with the people.
I mean, technically, I went to your wedding by myself, but like, did I ever think I was going to be alone for 1 second at your wedding? No.
So yeah,
I don't know. I'm usually in them. So
that's true.
this isn't something I'm overthinking too much. I've been invited, I guess, to a lot of weddings that I would have had to go solo to, but my work made it really, really hard to go to them. So yeah. I usually just said no and sent a card in my place.
The weddings that I would have ended up like going to by myself were like family weddings, and I was in them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm definitely like at the singles table if I'm at a table that isn't the head table.
Yeah.
But like also it's usually just like put those assholes over there.
I've also never been to a wedding that had place cards or place settings other than the head table.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as popular around here. There's a lot
less formality to the reception.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I have been to weddings like even just over a state where it's like, yeah, the expectation is you bring a gift and you put it here and you do this and you do that. And like you are supposed to do these certain things as a wedding guest. And it's like, oh, okay.
We're just like, okay, we're going to crack a beer. Anyone got the flask?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
maybe we should talk about these weddings.
Yeah.
In the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing that sticks out, so from the very beginning, when you're first introduced to give you notice that they're at a new wedding this time, is one of the like best man speeches or father of the bride speeches or something like that, and they are all awful because they're always awful.
Yeah.
And it was so cringy because I was like, every time I get up there and I'm like expected to give a speech, I'm like, people must be just like, shut the fuck up. I always feel stupid, and I'm just like, I really hope that this is good enough because it's all I can manage.
I liked all of the terrible wedding speeches. I thought they were fun, and I mean, obviously they were insanely awkward because they were mostly all bad. Like one gal is like, who knows what came first, the proposal or the pregnancy?
Oh,
and
like,
then it's dead silent.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh God.
Bruh.
And one guy sad plays his guitar.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That I think is the worst one.
Yeah.
Like singing, don't do it. Just don't do it. It's fucking weird.
And singing a really inappropriate song.
Right.
That is to say, even if you are good at singing or playing an instrument, don't do that as your speech.
Yeah.
Like, it's just way too awkward.
If somebody wanted you to sing or play an instrument at their wedding, they would ask you to sing or play an instrument at their wedding.
Correct.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it's a, hey, you're really good at this, or hey, you wrote that amazing song. Can you perform that?
Mm-hmm.
Not, I'm going to try to steal spotlight by singing for my speech.
Right. That's the other thing. What kind of fucking asshole is out here being like, what a great time for me to showcase my singing abilities?
Yeah, this shit ain't about you, bro.
Honestly, though. And I mean, in general, I get leaning on a strength, but no, don't do that. All I'll say is that I have never been to a wedding where like the people giving the speeches felt good and confident about doing that task. And I've been to a lot of weddings.
Well, that's how the movie kind of starts, is Ben is practicing his best man speech to Alice, and it's bad. Like his
It's really
first
bad.
iteration is no good, which she doesn't give or has no reservations against telling him, which I really enjoy about her. She
Oh,
is
yeah.
just so crass and unapologetically who she is. And I enjoy that as like the female main lead. We get to see that because usually it's like the male main leads or like the male best friend.
Yeah. She's just like, fuck no, dude, that's terrible. And
Yeah.
you see where that comes from later on when you see her family.
Well, I like to think of her as the frat boy girl, and he's the Percy Princess boy.
Yeah.
Like if you were to swap their genders, that's what they would be.
Yeah.
And so I think she's hilarious. I'm surprised with the way he acts. Like sometimes it's like, do you not like her? Because he's kind of mean to her sometimes.
Right.
Well, to be fair, I mean, she's mean to him.
Yeah.
She just plays it off as like, ha ha, joke.
That's true.
And I'm like, no, that was mean.
It's true. It's true. She's kind of aggressive. That's the end of that sentence.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
kind of aggressive.
Yep.
But yeah, like we first see them going to be the singles at this wedding where she wasn't supposed to. She was supposed to be there with Nate.
Yeah.
And turns out he's kind of a piece of shit.
Yep.
So there's that. And she gets totally wasted while he is trying to hit on a girl that they knew in college.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but also high school, it sounded like, because he was mentioning something about being in high school plays together. Who knows?
And he always had to say her first and last name.
That's because he's a firsty lasty, just like she is.
Yes.
Ben King, firsty lasty, I guess.
But yeah, and he's super weird about it. Like, I don't know. It was like he watched the movie Wedding Crashers and he was like, I can do this.
Right.
It's like, you haven't talked to this girl enough to know that she's engaged. Yikes.
Well, it kind of makes it sound like he hasn't talked to her pretty much since college. And I don't know how old Ben and Alice are, but they give late 20s.
That's what
Maybe
I was
even early
thinking.
30s.
I was going to
Yeah.
say late 20s, early 30s is the impression I was getting.
Old
Yeah.
enough to start having the panic of like, I haven't paired off yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also old enough to have enough money to fly to Hawaii and be like, let's just stay an extra day. Yeah.
While simultaneously throughout this entire thing, they're staying at the worst hotels and motels possible up to that point.
Up until Hawaii, yeah.
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 He splurged on Hawaii.
The first one that they went to together, where they had to stay in the bed together, didn't seem bad, other than the fact that it was just one bed. Because
Yeah.
Alice had booked it back when she was supposed to have Nate.
Yeah, it didn't seem like I mean, it was, a mid-range hotel.
Yeah.
Whatever. There was a couple motels, though, that I was like, maybe that was the only thing. There's constantly weddings happening in the summer. Oh, my God.
The vibe I got from them, though, is that they acted like they couldn't say no to going to all of these weddings. Like,
I know.
and most like couples are not going to throw a fit if you RSVP no, unless you're like one of their very close friends.
Yeah, unless you're like their mother or their best friend,
Right.
they're probably not going to throw a big fit about it.
Right. And so they act like they're obligated to go to all these weddings, and it's like, you're so not.
No, the only ones that seemed like they were obligated to go to there was one that was very clearly Ben's cousin or something because his parents and his uncles were there. And then obviously Alice's sister.
Yeah.
And obviously the one where Ben was,
The very first one where he's the best man.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I could maybe also argue their friends, the ones that the gay couple that
Oh,
got
the gay.
married.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But that one
But
also
they
seemed
seem-
fun.
Yeah.
That also seemed fun, and they seemed much more close with
Yeah.
with them.
Yes. Also, Ben thinks he is like the prime ideal wedding guest. He's like, yeah, I like to give them the gift and like put it into their hands. And
Bitch, nobody's got time for that shit on the day.
no, like nobody cares. Nobody cares.
He's also not buying off their registry, which annoys me. I'm like, I understand that you're like, but I thought of you. And it's like, that's real sweet.
But from what it sounds like, because we do get that moment at their friend's wedding where she like tells them that it's a Keurig and they don't even know what the fuck a Keurig is.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Which in 2019, you don't know what a Keurig is?
Right?
That's a
Yeah.
little weird.
I think that just means they're more elevated culture-wise, that they can't be reduced to a Keurig.
Yeah, Ben comes across as very well. Alice even says it at one point when they are talking to some other wedding guest. When Ben isn't, he's like off in the distance, and she's like, "No, Ben doesn't date. He dates ideas," and that pretty much kind of sums up his character.
It is indeed.
He's a very Ted from How I Met Your Mother kind of
Yes,
character.
I definitely got Ted vibes from
Yeah.
him. Of like, look at me, I can do these really great romantic things, and I'm so special, and like every girl should want to be with me kind of attitude. And you're like, bruh, you're fine, but like your attitude sucks.
And also the idea of like, if it's not perfect immediately,
Right,
it's not going to work.
right,
And it's
scrap it.
That's not how that works.
That is
No.
not how that works. Also, just saying, so like while Keurigs are not super expensive now, they were quite a bit more expensive in 2019. And so you're telling me you went to all of these weddings and you got them like that level of a gift?
To be fair, he does say that he is a VIP at a startup.
Oh, true.
It gets thrown in as like kind of a throwaway line when he's talking to, I think, another girl he's trying to hook up with at a wedding. But he says he's a VIP at a startup.
Which, okay, fair enough. But yeah, I was just thinking, I was like, God, Keurigs were a lot more expensive in like
Yeah.
2019 than they are now.
Well, him and his dad have a conversation about it too, and he seems like he's just bored with the startup.
Yes.
And so I don't think he knows what to do with money.
He just doesn't seem like he knows what he's doing with life.
Yeah.
And it kind of feels more like he wants the idea of a marriage and a wedding and all of that, because it's like what you're supposed to have and do. And I really like the conversation he has with the guy who actually got married in the very first wedding at like some wedding down the road that they were both invited to, where Ben is asking him, how did you've always known it was Amanda. I think that was her name. And he's like, no, I didn't. Hell, I still don't in some ways. He's like, you're just trying, like you're making a commitment to work on something together. And it's nice to have that, like, we're in this together bond thing. But it's not some fairy tale. This isn't like Disney, man.
All right. It's not perfect.
Yeah.
It also serves as a good reminder that you do not know what other people's relationships look like from the inside.
Right.
You only see the page that is shown out in public.
Yeah.
Right.
So you don't get to judge other people's relationships per se. I have had many friends where I did not necessarily like their significant other. And while I did not stay silent about it, because being a good friend means telling hard truths sometimes, I usually voiced my opinion once. And then I shut up about it, because at the end of the day, it's not my relationship and it's not my business.
Yeah. I think though too, it also reminds us that the wedding, especially the weddings, are the most idealized, like put together pretty picture, you know, and that's one day out of all of the days.
Yeah.
And it's an exhausting day that ends up not being really fun most of the time for the bride and groom.
Yeah.
I had fun.
Well, you know, I
There's a lot
think,
of stress.
Yep.
yeah, I think that there's more emphasis on the bride and groom putting on a party for their guests than there is on the bride and groom having a day where they can celebrate that they are choosing to be with each other for as long as they can handle.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like Ben has this idea in his head that if you're going to go as far as making the commitment and getting married, it has to be this perfect thing. And so he talks about that a lot in reference to his dad's 2 failed marriages, which his dad keeps saying they weren't failures, they just didn't work out.
Yeah.
Right. And is using that as like a really weird excuse for why he is expecting women to be perfect.
Yeah. I also really liked that conversation with his dad about, he's like, you know, I just feel like you're saying that, you know, mom wasn't good enough and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I'm not saying that anything bad against your mother. We just didn't work out. That doesn't mean that I dislike her. That doesn't mean that I hate her. It does not mean that I did not love her. I will always love her. She gave me you. But I can't. That's a thing. Just because you got divorced doesn't make you mortal enemies.
Well, and I really like the conversation that he also has with Alice about it, where she's like, I understand that was really hard for you for them to get divorced when you were a teenager. But my parents are still together and they hate each other.
Yeah, sometimes that's worse.
Well, we get to see it, and it
God,
is awful.
Oh my God, I was so uncomfortable. I was, you know how you get secondhand embarrassment watching movies sometimes?
Yeah.
I was like, oh God, if the floor could open and eat me in that moment, I would have wanted it too.
Yeah. Well, how many times have you like gotten caught, like been at a family's house and somehow gotten caught in a fight, and you're just standing there in the middle of it and you're like, oh no,
Oh,
I'm just
so many
gonna
times.
keep doing what I was doing.
Yeah, Ben's reaction in that moment is very relatable, because that would have been me. Like, anywhere I can help and be seen as just being useful, and like, I'll chop your vegetable. Oh, you don't want me to chop the vegetables? I'll go over here. I'm in the way there too. Great.
Yep. That would be me too. I was like, I'm going to go set up these chairs.
Right.
I'm going to go lay out these flowers. Anything to make me not be in your presence.
Well, the worst case scenario is that they draw you into the fight and like get you to pick a side on the fight, and you're like, I would rather die.
That's
Yeah.
also why you run in another direction.
Yeah.
Nope, not going there.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am, Pam. That's not for me. So
I will say I really loved Alice's, like, every time her mom tried to like draw Ben into the argument, she was just like, nope, Ben, go this way, or nope, like redirected it.
Well, because she was doing multiple things. Her mother was both fighting with her dad while also like kind of half yelling at Ben and Alice for taking too long to get together, and like being like, Ben, look at her, she's a slice, marry her.
Yeah.
she was very aggressive about it.
Oh
She
my
was like,
God.
She was.
why aren't you already married? You could have eloped.
They literally just got down too.
Yeah.
Like it had just happened.
Yes. I kept thinking that their third act breakup was going to be as a result of that, where he'd be like, we're moving too fast, and your family wants me to already be a part of the family, and I'm not comfortable with it. So
They made a toast at the wedding to him.
right, I would, if
That
that
was
was me, I
weird.
would have been like,
But Ben took it like a champ.
he
Ben
did.
did
Yeah.
like a
He
champ.
did, which is good, because if he's now like is gonna be with that family, he's gonna have to.
I know.
That does not seem like it was a one-off situation.
No.
No.
It's I'm just stressed because my daughter's getting married in a couple of days situation.
No.
That's a all the time situation.
I will say the dad with the collage made me laugh so
dad-
much.
The dad was really funny.
Yes.
And
In just the sweetest, calmest ways.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, she describes it really well when she's having that conversation with Ben, where she's talking about, divorce is sometimes the better option. And the way she describes it is that her mom is just constantly mad, and her dad is just sits there and takes it.
He's
And
just
it's like,
defeated.
that is exactly what we saw in the like one little segment we got of them.
Yep.
That segment was so loud.
Yeah.
I was so uncomfortable. I'm like, oh, ooh,
Well, the movie didn't like warm you up for it, right? Because for all of these weddings, it's just the only transition or warming up into it is the awkward speeches. And so we get the awkward speech that is actually Alice's. So we're like, okay, so we're probably gonna have some weird shots at the wedding. And it's like, nope, you're getting the pre-wedding where they're at the house making all of the food and doing all of the shit. No warning as to how, I don't want to say bad, but like,
uncomfortable.
yeah, which it's supposed to be. It was written that way.
They did a good job. I was uncomfortable.
Do you know what else was uncomfortable? I'm sorry, that sex scene in the graveyard.
Oh God, it was so uncomfortable.
I was
But
like-
also, it was very drunk sex.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it was. Like I'm not saying that it was a bad scene. I'm just saying it was really awkward and like weird to watch. It wasn't one of those moments of like they're finally together and it feels romantic. It was like, oh no, oh no.
I was very much, that's kind of disrespectful.
Well, it did also kind of feel realistic of
Yes.
like these two who have been pretending there's nothing there, and then like we're so fucking drunk that we're stumbling through a fucking graveyard.
Because we don't know how to get back to our hotel.
Right.
And both of our phones are dead.
Yeah. After swimming in a pool. with our clothes on.
Yeah.
It was so funny. So I actually watched this with Pappy, and the pool scene happened, and I was like, damn, I'm so old, because everything in my brain went, I would never jump into a pool with all my clothes on anymore.
Mm-mm.
I would if I was really drunk.
I think even drunk me would take at least the dress off.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
We also don't live in California, so it's a little bit different vibe there.
Yeah.
I suppose.
In terms of temperature. Odds are, even on a hot day, there'll be windy night, and we'll be like, fuck, I'm freezing.
Yeah.
So
That is true. Even in the middle of August, it'll be chillier at night.
yes. And
Except for last fucking week.
last week was hot, but so are you. Hey.
Shut up, baby. I know it.
The interesting thing, though, about the sex scene is I wasn't ready for it, right? I was not prepared for the movie to bring our couple together halfway through. I thought it was going to be one of those, like, towards the end bits.
Yeah, I kind of liked it, though. I liked seeing them have to, like, go through the stages of figuring it out, and that instead of that typical rom-com thing of like, okay, and then they're gonna kiss at the end.
Yeah.
You know?
I also did not expect it at that point. I thought that they were going to pass out in the graveyard when they fell over. I was like, oh, they're going to pass out in the graveyard. And then things happened. I was like, oh, we're going there.
Well, they did eventually, and then woke up with her whole coot out.
Yep.
Yeah, well.
She recovers better from that than I ever would. I would probably just be like, okay, sir, if you would dig another hole, I'll just hop in. Because I'm
Woke up
already
to
deceased.
an old grave digger telling her that her coochie was out.
Yeah,
Three
Cooter.
times.
Cooter. Cooter's out.
Cooter's out. Jesus.
I was like, oh, all right. I also would be like, could you just dig a hole right there? And I'm going to die.
I live by the mantra, I'm not going to see them again. So I probably would have reacted the way she would have. Well, nothing I can do about it now.
I unfortunately don't have a brain that will let me do that.
Mine will play it in the middle of the night. And when I think I've finally forgotten it, I will open my eyes at 3 a.m. and hear your cooter's out.
Yes. Mine likes to haunt me with the past memories and dumb things I've said and done. And it'll be like, hey, you're trying to fall asleep. Remember that time that you ate shit in front of this really important person? And I'm like, yes, brain, I do. Thank you for reminding me.
You remember that time when you were 12 that you were really mean to somebody?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I guess I just like that the movie in general seemed to subvert the romantic comedy expectations in a lot of ways, because even after that sex scene in the graveyard, I could have seen the movie going, oh, that happened and we're just going to throw it away. And then it's going to be awkward for a little bit. But instead it was like, well, what if they're just together now?
Well, they did do the, like, we're awkward for a little bit.
Not for very long.
No, I want to say it was like 2 weeks.
It wasn't even a full wedding, because it was the next wedding was Hawaii.
Yeah.
So yeah, like a week to 2 weeks.
Yeah, so like a week to 2 weeks where they really weren't talking and they were like, I was just busy. And then they pull up to pick her up and she goes, oh yeah, the last time I saw you, your peen was in me. And I was like, oh, Alice.
She doesn't have much of a filter.
Yeah.
No. I can't tell if it's also a tiny bit of like a defense mechanism.
I think it is.
Yeah. Because one of the times, like the first wedding they go to together, she is with a guy. Like they're at the after party at their hotel is what it seemed like. And she was hitting on one guy. And Ben asks her the next day, like, how did that go? And she's pretty much like, well, I really have to open up to people to get to know me. And I'm just not feeling that right now. I'm like, oh, honey.
I mean, I get that feeling, though. You're just like, I don't really want to put in the work that it takes. Because been there, done that.
Yeah, it kind of seemed like she was into Ben a lot earlier than...
Well, I think that she was subconsciously. I honestly think that I don't know if it was for both of them, but I think that at least she had feelings for him that predated the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that she was... because we get that moment where I can't remember who they're talking to, but she says something about the way that they met was he was using her to try and get with her roommate.
Yes.
And it seems like yes, she plays it off like as a joke, like haha, whatever. But I think that there's also an element of like that is a wound that is still open.
Yeah. And I mean, she probably does use the friendship as a defense mechanism in that way. Because like I'm that friend that I have a lot of guy friends that go for other people and everything. And granted, do I want any of my guy friends? No. But I've had many guy friends that went for other people and everything. And it was a little hurtful. I'm not going to lie.
Well, I think I feel like the big tell to me is actually the very first wedding before they even start the deal. And they're doing his best man speech in the hotel room. And we find out after the wedding that she had stolen his room key. And then comes back hammered after the wedding. And she says she's watching old episodes of Bones. But if you listen very closely to the noises that are being made by the TV, I don't know. I've watched a lot of Bones and it doesn't sound like porn. Sounded like porn.
She was watching porn. She was using that as an excuse. Oh, I'm watching old episodes of Bones to be funny.
I didn't pick up on that.
Oh, it was very clearly porn she was watching.
Well, and it kind of comes back later because then there's a scene where Ben is being sad alone in his hotel room after they break up. And he's very clearly also watching porn.
Dang. Well, I think too, there's whether or not she truly has feelings for him that she wants to act on before this. Hard to say, right? Because you can have had your feelings for somebody can change drastically.
Oh, absolutely.
Day after day, right? Especially when you have no idea where their head's at.
Yeah.
And that's really clear that she's just like, vibes? No vibes. And I think, too, there is also just this thing in the back of her mind where she's like, yeah, I'm going to back burner this guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I can always reach back out. And Ben does, come in for the backup support when Nate's not there. Whether or not he recognizes he's doing that, he is definitely, like, giving her some hold over him and some claim.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Especially during like the cuddling scene. So like the first wedding that they go to together and they're stuck in that bed together because it was supposed to be her and Nate. And she's all like, just cuddle me. And he's very clearly like, no, this is not a line we're crossing. And she's like, physical affection.
What if I'm the big spoon?
I can't remember exactly like the series of words she puts together as she's describing it, but she like throws in but it's like not weird.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's already weird. We've long passed that, Alice. It's weird.
I love his explanation of, but then it's going to get weird because I'm going to get a boner and then you're going to be weird about it. And she's like, no, what if you don't get one? It'll be fine. And he's like, but then you'll feel upset that I didn't get one.
Right? And I was like, I feel like you're overthinking this.
No, I think his thought process was solid.
I mean, I guess. But I do love that joke keeps coming back around of like, I don't know if you're going to get the right read from my boner. I'm reading your boner, Ben. Oh my God.
God, I love that I'm reading your boner, Ben, killed me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then they get together and they're actually kind of cute together.
They are.
And then Ben starts to kind of have some freakouts when Nate starts texting her again.
Which is weird because she like makes it really clear that she's like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. I know what he wants.
Yeah. I don't need to look at it. It's whatever.
She even says, well, I'm here with you.
Yeah.
So I don't care.
Yeah. Well, the way he kept badgering her to check the text would have driven me up a wall. I would have been like, bro, mind your business. Jesus.
Well, especially if you've only been together as a couple for like a month or something at that point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think it had been a month. I think it maybe been like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? Because wedding season isn't that long.
No.
And they had 10 of these fuckers to go to.
Oh, God. There's
Insane.
so many weddings. So expensive.
That's the other thing I kept thinking. Like, even as a guest, it is so expensive.
Yes.
So expensive.
And we have calm weddings. These didn't look like calm weddings.
One was in
some
Hawaii.
of them are.
Yeah.
Like the Hawaii one, obviously not, but like her sister's wedding was literally in their backyard.
Right. And then the couple that got married and their wedding was on a roof. It wasn't, I wasn't sure if that was the actual wedding or if that was like
The reception.
I couldn't figure it out because the two grooms were both in like casual wear.
Right. Or if it, well, I think the tricky part is sometimes they would bring us in at a reception and sometimes they would bring us in like at the ceremony.
Yeah.
And so they weren't really consistent with that. And so it's really hard to say, honestly.
Yeah. But also it didn't matter to the story.
No.
So
No.
it just gave us a different location.
Can I talk about the realest moment in the movie?
Sure.
Sitting in the audience of a wedding and going, so fucking hot.
I was thinking when she was saying she had to pee.
Well, that too. But I'm so hot. And I'm like, yep, I feel that. I felt that at a wedding this summer.
Well, I believe that was the one where the guy was like sobbing.
Oh, yeah. Sobbing and,
And
going
I was just
on
like,
and on.
literally, my guy, bruh, it's too much.
Don't get me wrong. I love a wedding where the groom gets a little choked up. Just a little thing. Oh, love that. So happy for them in that moment. But the sobbing was like, oh, dear Lord, stop it.
Yeah.
I'm going to be real right now. As somebody who's been in quite a few weddings and has attended quite a few weddings, I'm not a fan.
Of weddings?
Yeah. They're not a fun experience.
No. If I were to get married now, it would be so different. Like, just drastically different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could very much see how your guys' wedding was different, would be different. Granted, I did not actually really know you
No.
very well on your wedding day. I had met you, but I was Pappy's friend. I got accosted the second I walked in the door.
Kind of wish I would have taken my dad up on his offer. He said that I could have taken that money that he put towards the wedding and just gone on a big honeymoon. And I was like, that I should have done that. I should have just said,
Amazing.
fuck it, elope, have like a party somewhere for people and then get the fuck out of Dodge
Yeah.
for a week.
Yeah. Like, just from top to bottom, the ideas they're supposed to be for the bride and groom, right? But the bride and
Yeah.
the groom, like, spend all of their time taking pictures, greeting people, thanking people for coming, yada, yada, yada. And then they have to do, like, a series of tasks that we've decided are just bride and groom things. You gotta
Yeah.
cut the cake. You gotta have the first dance. You have to have the father, daughter, mother, son dance. You gotta go take pictures with your entire extended family because we never know when we're gonna get Aunt Barb back here again, and like barely have enough time to eat or have fun or actually spend any time with their bridal party that they've put together that are like supposed to be their closest friends. And then, like, if you're in the wedding party, you spend the whole time trying to, like, cover the stress for the bride and groom and try and take care of all the things for them. And if you're a guest, you have to put on uncomfortable clothes for seemingly no fucking reason. And you have to sit there and, like, wait for all these things to happen. You have to watch this really weird, mushy, like, love thing happen, and you're like, great, this is so much fun for me. And then you got to go there and watch them do all the things that the bride and groom are supposed to do. And maybe if you have energy after that, you can dance.
Well, at my wedding, I didn't even get to spend that much time with my husband. At my rehearsal dinner, I didn't even sit with him. We sat with our families because we all, like you said, all of our families coming from everywhere and they all want to talk to you. And you're like, well, I haven't seen you in this long and blah, blah, blah.
You didn't sit with Pappy at the rehearsal dinner?
Nope.
Oh.
Nope.
Yeah. Best thing at my cousin's wedding, though, the dinner was food trucks. And then they permanently, for the entire night, had a truck just making miniature donuts.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was amazing. I was very happy about it.
But back to this movie.
Yeah. I'm surprised, speaking of wedding stuff, that this movie really didn't lean too heavily on some of that. Like, you could have had a lot of jokes where it's like the like gifts, you know, the people have at weddings now where it's like a thing of bubbles or like a cookie container with cookies in it and stuff, or like whatever it fucking is, and then being like, wow, this one sucks.
Right.
You know, or like the or watching the bride and groom like shove cake into each other's faces and going, it would never be me. I would punch him in the face.
Right. No one ever once did the like garter.
Right.
Which, thank fuck, hate the garter thing.
Yeah. I think they could have played into that a little bit more. Like there's a little bit there was a bit that was great where they were making fun of the groomsmen doing like the groomsmen photos.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's 1000% true to life.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also liked, and I think it was at that same wedding when they're dancing and they're trying to be like, okay, which person are we going to wingman each other for? And the photographer comes over and just starts taking all these pictures and like talking to them. That felt very real too, of like, no, please don't.
He just kept going too.
Yeah.
Why do you want so many pictures of these two random guests?
Right.
Yes.
Like, fine, you took a couple pictures of them dancing. Lovely. I would love to get pictures if I were having a wedding of my guests on the dance floor. Cool. But like, he just kept at it.
I know.
Yeah. And you know, even just like jokes about the food. I've had some weddings where the food was top tier and I was like, God damn, what is this restaurant? How do I eat here more often?
Right.
And then I've had other weddings where I'm like, so some boiled vegetables, some real gross chicken.
And pasta that's been sitting under heat lamps for an hour.
Yes. And you're like, oh, okay. I should have eaten before I came.
I literally went to the restaurant that catered our friend's wedding not too long ago because I have dreamed of the mac and cheese since their wedding.
That was some good shit.
Oh, fuck yeah, it was.
They did make a joke about the diner tilapia though, which I
Yeah.
thought that was funny. I was
That
like,
was
yeah,
funny.
Why are you getting
Why
tilapia
are
from
you
a
doing
diner?
that?
Tilapia.
Yeah, I was watching this with my sister, and at one point when she comes back from like that first wedding and is like cooking in her kitchen or whatever, or like what did she try to make? Was it salmon?
It looked like some sort of fish.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what you did to burn it like that, but that ain't right.
No.
You did wrong. Yeah, you need to order DoorDash now because that's terrible.
I mean, I am not historically the greatest cook in the world, and I would not have destroyed that way.
It can happen pretty quick.
Yeah,
If you have your pan too hot, it can happen very quickly.
distraction is a problem.
I
Yeah.
usually start very low because I am aware of my limitations.
Yeah, but you also want your pan hot enough to make sure you get a good sear on whatever you're cooking. I suppose we should probably talk about the third act breakup, though.
Yeah.
Well, it's at the couple that they meet at the wedding in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Well, I think they were already Ben's friends.
Yes.
At their wedding, she doesn't bring the gift. She accidentally leaves it in her car, and she's like, "It's no problem. Like, we can give it to them later." And Ben's being like up his ass about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I do think that they are showing like, us a pretty good example of what their relationship is. She does seem very careless throughout this entire movie, right?
Yeah.
And so him getting to a point where he's exhausted by it makes a lot of sense. But he turns it into this thing where of like, oh, because we are not getting along on this one point, that must mean don't make sense as a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was very much a jump to an overreaction. It was like, what? I understand the annoyance. 100% get that she forgot something. You reminded her 3 times. I totally get the annoyance. But in the grand scheme of things, is it that big a deal?
I think it was her reaction, though. The blowing it off. And I mean, she's not wrong. She could have just gone and got it and been like a little bit late. And he could have even gone like without her for what? A half an hour maybe or something.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the way that she lets the couple know that they forgot the gift, I think that was the thing that really just pissed him off. And I could see it. I could see if I was upset about something, even if it wasn't a reaction, and my partner's reaction to that is to make fun at me in front of other people and then ruin my ability to then give them the gift later. I could see myself just being like, are you serious right now? You know that this mattered to me and you decided to just make a joke out of it.
Yeah, I absolutely don't think he overreacted as far as what she did there.
Yeah.
She was being a bitch. That was completely rude. I understand that I think she had lost her temper with him about the situation at that point.
Right.
because
That's
he
what it
was-
felt like to me.
Yeah.
Like it was a continuation of the fight, only she was doing it in a way that would actually get back at him,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which was not nice.
No, it was not cool.
Yeah.
I understand that she was losing her temper with him at that point, but to then try to say that it was his fault that the gift isn't there, and then she plays it off. Just kidding, it was me. And it's like, no, you're being an asshole.
Right. She was. That said, it's like all of that would have been fine if he was like, hey, you're kind of being a dick, and that was like the fight that they had.
Yeah.
But he would turned it into, hey, I didn't like the way you acted in this moment, so like I'm having doubts about whether or not we should be together at all. Is like, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then to have her be like, no, we're just having a fight. Like, I love you. And that's the time that she lays down the I love you. And for him to still be like, I don't see this working, and walk away. It's like,
Right.
dude, at least have a conversation when you're not heated. Like,
Yeah.
like, give it a couple of days and come back and talk about this when you've had some time to think.
Yes.
Absolutely. 100% of the time, I feel like things could be greatly improved. Even if they don't end up working out, things can be greatly improved by backing away and letting it sit for a day or two. Let everybody calm down for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have definitely said things in the heat of the moment that I'm not terribly proud of.
Yeah.
Well, and I think too, the part that was particularly cruel was so she gets upset and starts crying as she's having this conversation with him, and his reaction is not to treat her like she's an adult and have a conversation with her expressing like why he feels this way. Instead, it's, I'm going to do whatever I can do to try and get you to not be crying because I don't want to have to deal with that.
Yeah, but the thing is that's insanely realistic because arguments are not controlled by your logical brain, right?
Right.
Like, as soon as you get to that point, I think I read something once where fighting, like verbal arguments like that, trigger a fight or flight response in your brain.
That makes sense.
So you're no longer thinking like a logical person in any way.
I mean, I work in customer service, and I'm not going to lie. Fight or flight response can kick in when a Karen's talking to you.
Yeah. But yeah, so he's just like, well, this is done. And she goes her way and he goes his, and is then surprised that choice sucked.
I know, he's shocked by it almost. And you're like, what did you think was going to happen, douchebag?
Like, did you really think that this thing that was making you happy, like probably 80% of the time, was going to be great if you didn't have it 100% of the time?
Well, that's the big conversation he has with his friend later of, no, it's not always perfect.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how this works.
That's not reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she gets back with Nate for at least one wedding.
Yeah.
We see her with Nate.
Well, I think it shows that that breakup, and particularly the way that it was done, gives her a real swift kick to her pride and her ego, and she's like, this I can manage.
Yeah.
It makes me real sad for her, though. Because he does look like a douchebag.
Nate? I thought he looked hot.
He looks like a hot douchebag.
Yeah.
Nah.
I'm not disputing the fact that he was hot.
I guess I didn't get douchebag vibes from him from like that scene. From the way she was talking about him earlier, sure. But
The texting really set my back teeth on edge. You
Why?
broke up with her. Why are you texting her?
because that's the way people communicate.
There's no reason to communicate anymore.
Unless you want her back.
That's not how breakups work, man. They don't just end.
They do for me.
Sure, but like,
You're a ghoster.
If we have broken up, I'm done. We don't need to talk. We don't need to be in communique. There's very few of my relationships that I would continue having conversations with.
then we have the super awkward scene where Ben runs into Nate. Even though he was trying to get Alice back, Ben was.
Yes.
That was awkward.
It was awkward. It was such an awkward turtle moment.
Yeah. You know, yeah.
Great. Good job.
Great contribution there, Wiggs.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You can put that on my tombstone.
But I mean, obviously Alice chose correctly, because not long after that, she shows up on his doorstep, Ben's doorstep, being like, I'm here.
Don't fuck this up.
Pretty much, because Ben's like, I didn't deserve a second chance. And she's like, you don't.
You know.
Nope.
So be grateful, motherfucker. Well, I will say in that fight, she makes this really good point where she's like, I am here. This is good. You are blowing this up for no reason.
Yeah.
And him just being like, nope, I'm going anyway. Like, yeah, he doesn't deserve a second shot. But I don't think Nate did either. So
The only thing we know of Nate is that they broke up and then he started sleeping with somebody else. Like, that's all we know.
yeah, that's technically true. But I mean, most of the time, if all they did was go, hey, this isn't working out, that's not how you react. You don't get messy at a fucking wedding.
Yeah, you don't get bitter and wasted at a wedding.
No.
I mean, you would if you didn't see it coming, I guess.
I guess.
But we don't know.
No, we don't.
Other than the fact that everybody who sees her is like, where's Nate? And then when she goes, we broke up. Oh my God, that one couple is like, oh, but you were so great together. What happened?
I liked Nate, and I'm like, I would punch you.
Well, and then they did those like fucking microaggressions because she says to Alice, who is, we don't know what descent or like what her race is other than that she is Asian and that Nate is Asian. But this bitch says to Alice, you guys were yin and yang together. And I'm like, you racist motherfucker.
I know. I thought the same thing. I was like, how dare you?
Well, there's also those two gals at the pool. And
Oh God, that was, sorry, go ahead.
Well, she makes a comment that like, oh, are you one of those Asian girls who only dates white guys? And her sister is like, please excuse my sister. She is prone to be racist. And I'm like, yeah. And then she follows it up with more racist comments. She's like, I think you're due for a white boy. And I'm like, you just don't say that to people.
No.
When you're white. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
There are moments in your whiteness that you shut your mouth.
Yeah, it's not that hard. I'm shocked at how many people are surprised at how hard it's not.
Right?
And it's not hard to just shut the fuck up.
Do you think of anything before you open your mouth?
Well, a lot of our problems in the world would be solved if people went, hey, maybe I don't speak now.
Maybe
Yeah.
I'm going to take this thought that I haven't workshopped, I haven't processed, I haven't beta tested, and I'm going to keep it inside for now.
Yeah.
Until I've had some time to mull it over.
I've had some time to kick that around in my head or workshop it with trusted people that can tell you, no, that's a bad thing.
Nope.
Yeah, but here's the problem. A lot of people's quote unquote trusted people are not trustworthy people.
Yes.
No. They contribute to the problem. They are as
Yeah.
bad. Yeah.
You're my trusted people. I would workshop things with you. I don't need to 99.5% of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just like, wow, you're just really going for that. Okay. I wasn't as surprised at the first comment because people say stupid shit all the time, but I was surprised by the second comment where I was like, you've already been called out. Why are you still talking?
Why are you still talking? Your sister literally told you you're being racist.
Right?
Knock it off.
And then that is still the person that Alice gets like wingman's Ben for.
She wingman's the sister.
She wingman's the nice sister, not
Because the nice sister was the one who had the kid.
No, the nice sister was the one making the racist comments. She was pregnant.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I literally watched it today. No. I'm telling you no.
Listen, I don't care enough to fight about it. So sure, you win.
Okay, good.
I literally don't care.
Anyway.
I'm just saying the one who had the kid was also pregnant.
Yes, she was.
And she's not the one that went home with Ben.
Correct. That is all correct. Yes.
And she was the one making the comments.
No,
Yes!
she's the one who said, like, ignore my sister. She's the one who's racist. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Anyway.
Anyway.
Oh, man.
So getting back to Ben and his trauma, I guess, we talked a little bit about his dad and his mom obviously got divorced at some point. He had some other marriage in between there. And when we first meet his dad, Ben's going over to his house where his dad's new girlfriend and 2 young sons, I would assume under the age of 10.
Yeah.
At least under the age of 12.
Not his dad's sons. They're her sons.
Her sons.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Are like running around. And he's obviously besotted with her, and his son sort of just like acts like she doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Like he's cordial, but that's like the best he can manage.
Right.
And so they go out golfing because obviously he's not going to stay in the house with the kids. And that's when his dad tells him that he's getting engaged.
And he's getting married very soon.
Yes. And Ben has a freak out, a controlled freak out, because he's definitely the type of person who believes in politeness over authenticity, for
Yes.
sure. And then the next time we see him, he's also freaking out because it's at his cousin's wedding, and his dad's like, "I want you to be my best man," and he's like,
No.
"I don't wanna."
I agree with Alice in that, because Ben's talking to Alice about it at one point, and he's like, "I just don't know what to do." And Alice is like, "You say yes. You just say yes." Like, what is the alternative? You're going to go and like not be the best man when you've been invited, like asked to? That's not going to be good.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Suck it up.
Right. But I will say at his cousin's wedding, we meet his uncles too.
Yeah.
And
They seem like a fun bunch.
yeah, they're out there smoking a doobie. And, and like
With Alice.
yes. And like I've been that friend at the family wedding where you're like, "Come over here, kid." But so that part did feel really relatable, of like, we've chosen this young person.
Right.
But then later on, Ben has to go pick all of them up at some bar because they're too high.
They were at the golf course.
High.
High.
Not the bar. Yeah.
But it was in the middle of the night, so it wasn't like they were golfing and then went, "Oh no, we can't continue."
Yes.
And were they on shrooms or acid?
I thought they said acid.
I thought they did too.
They were having a time.
They were having a time.
Because it was Ben's dad's bachelor party.
Yes.
The one that Ben didn't want to plan, because that was his big thing to Alice, was like, "What am I going to do? Plan his bachelor party?"
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, maybe.
I mean, you can and can't at the same time. There are ways around that. Be like, here's the thing. There are things I don't need to know about my father.
Yeah.
I will give you monies to take him out.
Well, also, I mean, if he had said, "Okay, we're just going to go golfing," and that's it, and then we'll like
Get like a nice steak dinner or something,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, his dad would have been like, "That sounds great, Ben."
Yeah.
You know, like,
It's not a 20-something's bachelor party. Like,
Well, but it ended up like that.
it sure did. They really went on a different path, and so
that's what you get for leaving him alone with his uncles.
Yeah.
yes, and they are. I will say the actors who were playing these like high old guys were knocking it out of the park.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like sometimes when people act high, you're like, this isn't believable at all. They were nailing it.
Can
Oh,
we
yeah.
go through a drive-through?
I
No.
loved that part. I also loved when his dad, after they drop off everybody, so Ben has to go pick them up, and he drops off everybody but his dad, and his dad is in the front seat, and he's just like, "Nope, I gotta lay down now," and starts crawling
Yes.
into
Yes.
the back. I was like, "That's
Such a
real."
relatable
Yep. I also love that he's like having this like deep talk with Ben about like, why do you hate her? And he's like,
Yeah.
I don't hate her, and you know, all the things we've already talked about, but that he like makes this point and then he like sinks down in the chair, so he's like behind the driver's seat, and so you don't see him, you just are like hearing this disembodied voice, and then he like pops up just for a minute to say something, and I think it was like, "Can we go through the drive-through?"
That one he said yes to. I think
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
when all the uncles were like, "Can we go to the diner?" He's like, "No."
No. Right.
I think that would be the funnest fucking time to be the sober person who took a bunch of old high men to the diner. Like,
Yes.
you just have to sit there and watch the show.
That's free
Oh, yeah.
television
Yeah.
right there.
It's peak people watching, and especially if it's like late night diner. Fuck yeah. I'm just gonna sit here and make sure nobody does anything too outlandish
Yeah.
or to get them in trouble.
Well, and then that's sort of the like wrap up of the movie is that we see Ben practicing his best man speech to Alice, like at the beginning of the movie, for his dad's wedding.
Yeah.
And she rewrote the entire thing again.
That's because she needed to. He was saying he was talking about like, well, we're at the third wedding now. And Alice is like, don't talk about your dad's divorces and his new wedding.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Yeah, she's 1,000% right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then it just kind of ends on a happy note.
It does.
I do really like that they ended it how it began with her fixing his goddamn speech.
And they also did a throwback to her sister's wedding where Ben gets pulled in all the family pictures, where they pull her into the family pictures at the dad's wedding.
And she's very excited to see his uncles again.
I would be too. They sounded like a fucking riot.
Oh,
Right?
fuck. They'd be so much fun.
I would like to hang out with the high uncles.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hoot.
Hoot and a half.
So yeah, that's the movie. So I think it might be sort of kind of ratings time.
Ooh, you put a little pepper on it that time.
A little pepper.
Just put a little pepper on it. So what's your spice rating? We have one sex scene and not really anything else.
There's a couple of like make-out scenes and beginnings of things, but
Yeah.
She does have her cooter out.
But we don't get to see that. So I do like when she's talking in the diner before they get together. And Ben is asking her about like, oh, who did you get with last night? And she's like, well, we didn't go that far because I need to do some maintenance.
Yeah.
Eventually she says, I got a hairy ass and a hairy vagina.
She's like, I was with you the whole time. Didn't need you to clarify at any point.
To be fair, like if you're going to a wedding, why aren't you taking care of that ahead of time? And that's another indication that she wasn't planning on getting with anyone.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Men
I'm not
don't-
going to put in that effort if I'm not planning to hook up.
Yeah.
My God.
Anyway, so what does that mean your spice rating is?
a 2, maybe? Not even?
I think I'm
1.5?
I think a 2.5 because I think, you're not usually getting as much as you did in a rom-com.
Yeah, I was thinking between somewhere around a 2.
Yeah.
I think I'll stick with a 2. You didn't get a lot. You get the word cooter. That makes me laugh.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go with a 2.5 as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Romance.
Oh, boy. This is tricky because I feel like when you think of classical romance in movies, this movie like didn't necessarily have that, but it had a much more realistic version of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like a grown-up version. Like,
Right.
The
we're not
friendship
going to
that
give
turns
you the
into something.
fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, I don't know. I'm stuck between a 3 and a 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going 3.5. I liked their relationship. It also gives you the reality of
Yeah.
you have to learn the things that irritate you about the other person and learn to talk about it like a fucking adult.
I think I'm going to go with a 3.5 as well because I love watching like true friendship blossom into something more. And that's what we saw.
I'm also going to go with 3.5. And I would almost say like it's almost a 4 for me because I do like that they were showing us a lot of different versions of what love can look like in the little snippets you get of the other characters of all these weddings that they're going to. And I did really like that they had really good commentary on love.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They had a lot of insightful conversations in the middle of these that were very, very telling of love, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah.
So what's your overall then?
I actually give this a 4. I really liked this movie.
I was going to give it a 4 as well. I enjoyed it quite a lot.
I'm going to go as far as giving it a 4.5. I'd
Damn.
watch it again. And I mean, I don't think it's one I would watch like all the time, But I would definitely watch this on a like annual basis.
Oh, this is definitely probably one in the repertoire of it'll come back around when I just need like a funny, cute movie.
Yeah. But also, this one was smarter than I would say a lot of rom-coms are.
Absolutely.
And was saying more with with the same amount of time, right?
Damn, now I feel like a 4.5 too. I'm gonna do it.
Talked you up.
I'm gonna stick with a 4, but I do really enjoy it. I did like the intelligence of it because they did have really insightful conversations and views into different relationships and different romances in this movie, but they also didn't lose the funny in it, which is a very fine line to go by with a romantic comedy.
That leads us to recommendations.
So I could give you a million wedding movie recommendations, but there are literally, if you look up wedding movie lists, they're all on there. So just go check that out. So instead, I'm going to give you sort of the off-kilter one.
Sure.
So this is, I don't know that it's technically an indie movie, but it's more of an indie movie. So a lot of people probably haven't seen it. And for some reason, like the style of the movie reminded me of this movie, and the relationship reminded me of the relationship in this movie, and it's Away We Go. It stars Maya Rudolph and John Krasinski about 10 to 15 years ago. And they're in a committed relationship, married, and they find out she's pregnant, and they're trying to figure out what their life is going to be as they bring this baby into the world. And so they're figuring out where they want to move. They're figuring out what house they want to be in, things like that. And they're just like, what family members do they want to be closer to as they raise this kid? Like, it's just a very intelligent, kind of like this movie where it's not like, it's still fun and funny, but it's also smart.
Okay.
Fair enough.
I would recommend Players, which just came out, I think, this year or end of last year on the Netflix. And it has nothing to do with weddings, but it is a friends to lovers romance where our main character is Mac, or Mackenzie's her full name. She has her group of guy friends, and they like to wingman each other. And they have all of these like plays that they run to like wingman each other. And she has like a new guy at work, and she's like, guys, this is the one. We're going to like go hard to get this guy. And as soon as she gets him, she's like, why are we here? And she realized, and then they put together that it's like, oh, you actually love your other friend, your friend. So it kind of has a lot of the same like trope of working together to get other people, but then realizing that they want to be together vibe. Yeah.
So I'm going to, this isn't like super similar or anything, but it is a wedding movie, and it is a little bit of a friends to lovers situation. It's 27 Dresses, because they kind of become friends as they're working on like his articles and stuff, and then realize that they have a thing for each other, and it makes me smile too. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, folks, that's the end of the episode. If you would like, because we would like to find us out there on the socials, you can find us at Wrong Dust Jackets on primarily TikTok and Instagram, but pretty much wherever you go. And then we would love it if you gave us a like or 5 stars or a comment, whatever is available to you in your podcast listening app. You can go to our website, wrongdustjackets.com, to find a list of the other episodes that we've done, the ones that we're gonna do. You can see our blog posts about reviews of other things. And yeah, it would just be so great to hear from you. We would love it. That's what we've got. Bye, y'all.
bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.